I am a sculptor and installation artist. I also teach sculpture at Sacramento City College. And unlike a lot of the other speakers here today who have direct relationships with the artists that they've spoken about, I don't know Squeak Carnwath. I'm going to be talking about Elvis's Air by Squeak, and like I said, I was never a student of hers. I don't know her personally, but fate is kind of a strange creature, and ironically, when I was still living in Los Angeles some years ago, I actually sold her a piece of furniture. And I was very excited about that, because I knew who she was, but she didn't know who I was. And, you know, thinking about what I was going to say about this piece, I was really worried I wanted to come off as academic and smart, when really my response to Squeak's work tends to be totally visceral. And I was listening to an interview with her and was relieved to know that while I know that she reads a lot of philosophy and she is a very learned and intelligent woman, her work seems to be about evoking ephemera and memories and experiences. So her work to me is very raw. I respond to it, I think, a lot because, you know, I am not a painter, I'm not a two-dimensional artist, and if I were to be, this is how I would envision things. I'm not really a foreground, middle ground, background type of person. So the idea that these are just kind of floating with kind of a disregard to spatial depth is really appealing to me. And it's kind of hard for me to speak about just one piece of Squeak's. I feel like when I'm talking about one of them, I'm kind of talking about her entire body of work, because I respond to them in a sort of similar way. They become interwoven, I feel. And her works, to me, become maps of some kind with no clear directions. It's like she's snatched all of the lines that create all the roads and direct us clearly. She's taken those away. They're also a sort of archaeology of memory and experience where you might find certain fragments, but they don't really necessarily make sense. And I don't think that it's important that they make sense. It's kind of the experience in the moment. If you do look at this piece, however, you do see the portrait of Elvis, and you see all of these other little scribbles and shapes and patterns, and so she is creating a visual language, but I really feel like it's so masterful in referencing something very specific, but also nothing at the same time. I found it really interesting in listening to her speak that she has a radio and TV going all the time in her studio. And I found that a great relief, actually, because you build up these personas of the artists that you admire, and you think that their art practice is something so untouchable and holy. And for me, it was a relief to hear that she has this kind of oral cacophony going at all times. But part of the reason why she has the radio and the TV going all the time, she said, is because she is a receptor of information, and her work then becomes kind of a response to that. She's a conduit of this information. And so I think what I really most admire about her work is her ability to convey this information and to touch upon something that I didn't even really know that I experienced. So she's evocative of things that you know you have experienced, but she also